Hello and welcome back. We are in front of the Christmas tree, which is obvious, but I felt like I had to point that out. It's quite a big tree. We live in a barn, so we uh, we got a big tree. Pretty cool. But that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about this plaid that I'm wearing, which is an Ella Bean product. Anybody worth their salt in Maine has to have some Ella Bean plaid. And today we're talking about a beer that's actually from North Carolina. And if you live anywhere from Florida up to Maryland, across to Tennessee, up to Pennsylvania and Ohio, you've probably heard of the Duck Rabbit Craft Brewery from Farmville, North Carolina. Now, you're forgiven if you don't know where Farmville is. It's in eastern North Carolina, not too far from Rocky Mount. I had the pleasure of visiting it a couple weeks ago. Met a good friend of mine there, and it is a tiny place. That was my first impression. And if you've been there, you probably had the same kind of initial thought. But they brew a lot of beer. They brew a lot of good beer out of actually, I should say that the actual the customer facing portion of the brewery is small. I didn't get the tour, but they do brew a lot of beer. They traditionally have been dark beer specialists, but recently they branched out. They make an IPA now, so but their dark beers are very good. And I actually didn't try this one while I was there. This is Black Pearl Oyster Milk Stout. Now, the idea of an oyster stout might sound weird to you, but it's actually not a new phenomenon. Back in Victorian England, oysters were very popular bar food, apparently. I wasn't there. That's what I read. But so that was a thing for a while. And at one point, they used oyster shells as kind of part of the filtration process. And then around World War II, they actually brewed stouts with oysters. I guess it was part of a trend to add nourishment to beers to keep people nourished. So this one is brewed with North Carolina oysters, and I haven't had it. So we're going to see what this is all about. It's supposed to kind of just give a little bit of a brininess to it. Um, it's not going to taste a whole lot like oysters, supposedly, but we'll see. Let's see here. Anyway, if you're in the area of Farmville, North Carolina, you should definitely check them out. Super nice people, and they make really good beer. So here you go, Oyster Stout. Salud. Yeah, it does not taste like oysters. It is it's kind of a dry stout, and it's almost there is a little bit of brininess to it. Mm. I should mention for those of you who like more trivia about the beers and the license plates, Duck Rabbit began in 2004. So another little point of information for you. But yeah, this is like I said, it actually doesn't taste anything like oysters. It does have a brininess to it, which would allow it to pair very well with oysters, I would imagine. Um, wow, yeah, it's very good. Just like all the other beers I've had from them. Um, so about the plate. So I'm filming this on December 5th, and December 7th is an important day in American history. If you don't know why, you should go back to school or read a book because it is National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day. And this year, 2021, is the 80th anniversary. Uh, it's a long time ago. My parents weren't even born. So as you can imagine, there aren't a whole lot of Pearl Harbor survivors left. And I say that because the license plate, appropriately today, is a Pearl Harbor survivor license plate from Maine. This one last expired in 2001. Um, it's a very kind of an odd plate by Maine standards because it has what we call a leading zero in the number, which you just don't see that. That doesn't happen. But for some reason, this plate, I mean, it's a special plate, has a special kind of presentation to it too. So, what I can tell you, I think these were first issued back in 1988. And the statistics I was able to access only go back to 2003. So in 2003, there were 42 active Pearl Harbor survivor registrations on the road in Maine. By 2010, that number had dropped to 13. And last year, in 2020, any guesses on how many active registrations there were of this type of license plate? If you guessed one, you're correct. And when we get the statistics for 2021, I would not be at all surprised if there were just zero. So this is actually the most I've paid for a license plate was for this. I sold a project car some years back, and for cheap. Wasn't much left to it, and I bought this with a lot of the proceeds. So very, very fond of this. Obviously, very special plate. You're not going to see them anymore because 80 years ago, um, say you were 18 years old. I mean, quick math puts you at 98 years old, and probably not driving a car if you're still alive. So it's a great, great plate. One of my favorite plates in my collection for obvious reasons. So there it is, and that's it. Might as well go ahead and I know it's not Veterans Day, but since we're on the subject of Pearl Harbor survivors and veterans, if you're out there, you're a veteran watching this, thank you. Appreciate your service. And that's about all we got. Drink responsibly. Thank you for the comments and the likes and the subscriptions. I appreciate it. And we will see you next time. Stick around for the summary after this. I can't promise any cat sightings this time, but you never know. See ya.